you pull back the curtain. You really are just showing them, here's what's going on behind the scenes, and really inviting them to have a little bit more of the information as to what the day-to-day may be. I loved that they can put a face to a name, because a lot of our owners have only met myself. So they haven't met the team. So to see and put the face of who's our maintenance coordinator, who's the resident experience manager, like to really get to know them, I think really helps them. So what we're all talking about is this idea of doing, how we do it is we do quarterly Zoom calls with our owners. So we invite all of our owners, and we basically kind of do a state of the union, a state of our company, how the company's doing, the health of the company. And I have each of our team members have a role in exactly what they need to be doing. So based off of what their position is, they have something to talk about, and we'll go over whatever is kind of new in our industry, in our area. So for us, it could be rent control, it could be rental licensing, it could be the eviction moratorium, it could be a lot of different things. But the idea was that, and I said this in one of the breakout rooms, is that owners only hear from us, it seems like, when there's always bad things, right? We're always calling them when we have, like, we need more money or something is going on. The idea was to say, hey, we're just going to tell you exactly what's just going on in the company, how well we're doing, how well rent's being received, how much, we're on, what our percentage of occupancy is, what our percentage of delinquency is. That way they felt more engaged. They had a lot more buy-in. And that we were delivering just overall news, nothing bad, just, how we're doing. And it felt more engaging. We have a whole agenda. So we went through that, usually lasts about 45 minutes. And we do open it up for questions. So we'll have somebody monitoring chat. So somebody, they definitely can ask questions during the chat. And at the end, we open it up, let everybody unmute and ask questions. And I think there was a fear from when we first started doing this. Our employees were all obviously very fearful that, everybody has these owners who are, the ones you're like, don't ask that question. And I think you can easily filter those questions out. Like if they start asking, and honestly, we've never encountered that. Our owners, I don't think, want to embarrass themselves. And if they're disgruntled in any means, they would take it offline, but that's never really happened. So that's, it's been a really positive. We've heard nothing but positive things about it. They were amazed that we did it in the first place. I will say this, because we've changed our times to accommodate different time zones. We have owners out of country. So we've done it in the morning, we've done it in the afternoon, we've done it in the mid-afternoon. We record the sessions, and then I send it back out to everybody at the very end. So everybody will actually hear it, even if they weren't participating in it. And Kelly asked if we do plant any questions. We actually don't plant any questions. And I would probably say we've had up to half of our owners attend. And then it just, again, I think it really depends on the time zone, but that's how we do it. So Karen and Bryan, why don't you say what you guys have done? Anything different or?
Go ahead.
I think the one comment, Deb, that I really appreciated from what you said is you pull back the curtain. You really are just showing them, here's what's going on behind the scenes, and really inviting them to have a little bit more of the information as to what the day-to-day may be. I loved that they can put a face to a name, because a lot of our owners have only met myself. So they haven't met the team. So to see and put the face of who's our maintenance coordinator, who's the resident experience manager, like to really get to know them, I think really helps them. So I loved when you challenged me. So everybody, Deb, this was a huge challenge for me from Deb to do this. And I was extremely nervous. I'm like, what do you mean we're going to invite every single owner to one call? What if they ask questions? What if they do that? I was very, very nervous, but
the really amazing thing that Deb did, and I would open it up to anybody here, is I joined one of her owner calls. I kind of watched how it was facilitated, how she did it, what her team kind of shared, what the agenda was like, and then we implemented it. Tweaked it a little bit for our owners, but I really think that helped the owners. Even those ones that you were afraid, like, are they going to ask those questions? Are they going to be the ones? I think it calmed them down. It really gave them a sense of, okay, I understand a little bit more. I see why you've implemented these policies. I understand why you want us to follow these steps. It gave them a little bit more information. So, pulling back the curtain, I think, was a good thing that you had mentioned last time on your call, Deb, and just inviting them to ask questions that maybe they didn't understand or you were needing a little bit more clarification.
Just to kind of piggyback on that, the way that we've done it is we'll send a letter out. We just send it out through our software, but we send a letter out and it'll have a link in there on how to join. We do it as an RSVP. I want to know who's going to kind of be on that call. And that's really important. It lets us kind of gauge the timing of everything. And then we'll send out reminder letters a week before, a day before, kind of just continually reminding them, all with that same link that they can RSVP. And then, yes, they get a link to join. It's a Zoom call. And so just to kind of do that.
Yeah. So there's, I think we're all kind of doing the same thing, maybe going about it a little bit differently. So I heard the idea at the end of 2020 and kind of ran with it, brainstormed with my team. And kind of what Jonathan and I thought about doing was, the way we handle it is a strategic recap. So we look backwards for the previous quarter and we talk about the why. And we want to have our clients understand the why we're doing certain things, why we're deploying certain systems, and have a better understanding. They don't need to understand the how. It's just the why portion of it. And what we like to do is actually draw our managers in. We have mastermind calls with our managers. I have 5 locations. So we pull everybody in on Zoom calls once a month, and we have mastermind sessions. And the one thing that I challenge my managers to do is to step up and come out of their comfort zones, because a lot of my managers weren't comfortable with the idea. It's like, the first thing you have to get across is, don't be afraid to do this. We've had nothing but positive feedback on the 2 that we've done this year. And it's been overwhelming. And it's been, I've got clients that have properties in multiple states with multiple managers. And their comment is always, no one else is doing this. And they're just blown away that it's proactive versus reactive. Back to what Deb said earlier, we're giving them good news. We're explaining why we're doing things, how we're doing it for their benefit as well. And we focus on the triple win. We even talked about it on the last call. It's that we're looking for a win for the owner, the resident, and the manager. And once we focus everything through that lens, it's easy. And we're also focused on the education of our owners and educating them on the way that we want them to think as investors. And so we do that through this and through our podcast, and we tie those things strategically together. So what we do is we actually limit it to 30 minutes. We do an RSVP as well. But we have 3 10-minute segments. So we have 3 speakers that are always myself and Jonathan, and then we have one of our other managers. And we'll vary from that as we go through. And I'm already jotted down a couple notes from these 2, just ways to tweak things. And then we'll have our staff on, and we'll do the RSVP with our guest as well. And it's really rewarding for me. I've been doing it for 21 years. The rewarding part for me, probably the most rewarding piece, is seeing clients that I've had for 15 plus years taking part in this. And, from where we started, they were accidental landlords, and now they've evolved with us through the years and bought additional properties, and we're managing additional things for them. So helping them educate and grow as investors, and all the while, keeping them happy. Obviously, they're they're referring people into us and such. So, but we record them and everything that we send it out to all of our owners. We do much the same thing. We utilize our social media platforms to really push everything out for RSVP and make it super easy to RSVP. Just click the link. We use a program there. An additional thing that we do is fun. We use a program called Wheel of Names. And I have one of our girls in the office that manages our chat, and then she manages the Wheel of Names, and she inputs the attendees' names into a wheel, just like Wheel of Fortune. And at the end of it, the last thing we do is we give away 1 month of free property management on one single family home. So, because I have a lot of investors with a lot of different properties, I want to be careful with that. But we give away one free month of management, and we announce it, and the screen comes up and the streamers fly and all that kind of stuff. So it's really cool. People get excited about winning things. So if you haven't thought about adding that into the mix, that's a great thing. And we reserve that for attendees only. So we don't just put that in there for anybody that's RSVP'd. It's for people that actually are in attendance.
I like that idea, Bryan.
I love that.
Yeah, that's good.
I was going to say, somebody asked this, and I think the reason we actually involve our team, the reason why I wanted to bring the team in is it also builds kind of career development. I can't be the only person that always talks to the owners. I can't have it just be my senior property manager people. I need the team to kind of, this is good for them. They need to, I want them to reach new heights and learn new things and advance in the company. So I think that's really important as well. We did something. So Brad Randall mentioned something, and we did this last time as well. So we had a guest speaker, and we actually had Andrew with Second Nature. And so the call went actually a lot longer than a typical hour. It almost went an hour and a half, but nobody got off. Everybody was very interested. Andrew did an amazing job. And I thought of going out, so kind of what I think Brad was doing is bringing our vendors in, the affiliates that we use, so that owners, kind of going back to what Bryan said, why are we doing this? Like, why are we doing this resident benefit package? That's been a question this last couple of quarters. So we thought, let's just hit the nail on the head and have the expert come in and explain how it's a benefit to the owner, how it's a benefit to the resident, and then, what does that look like? And so hearing it from somebody who is not us, I think was a better buy-in from the owners, and they were like, now I get it. I mean, it's like we could tell them, but of course they're going to look at it and go, oh, you're just wanting to make more money. That's part of it, but that's not all of it. And I think they needed to see the whole scope of it. And I knew that bringing Andrew in would be a really great addition to the call, and it worked seamlessly. It went better than I thought, and I was really, really pleased. And we haven't had one complaint or issue at all about bringing on this resident benefit package. We even offered it to owners to have them pay for it. So in the interim, obviously, because sometimes there's a waiting period, we've had owners pay for it. So it's been a really great experience.
And to answer Christine's question about how we run the meeting, yes, it's completely an open meeting. The videos are on, our names are displayed. The owners can chat questions. I do have someone monitoring the chat, and I encourage questions as we're going through the presentation, that they write down their questions at the end and we can help address it. But it's completely open. I want to be as transparent in the meeting to them. And I also invite not just our current owners, but I invite all of the owners who we may have done just the tenant placement. And it really, talking about building loyalty, building more customer, they recognize that as value added, as something that as a property management client, this is something you also get to participate in. So I invite them to see that the first time when we're working with them, and encourage them to see this is the value that our company provides to our owners, keeping you informed. And the feedback has been really, really positive on both our current owners and those owners who are looking to possibly hire us for full service.
So Karen, we had our BDM reach out to all owners that have been in our CRM for a while that never signed up with us. And we encouraged them and invited them to be a part of the call. So that's another networking idea. So people, again, Bryan brought up a really good point. We're the only ones that do this. And it is kind of scary. And I think it's hard to get some buy-in from the team. But I think it's been a great experience, and inviting people who have inquired about our company and want to see, the Oz behind the curtain. How do we really work, and explain how we do things? Another thing that we try to do is educate them on processes. So I try to say, well, here's how we're doing the application process and why. Here's how we're doing a renewal process and why. So explaining how, so they understand the mechanics of all of it. And remember, it's recorded. So even if they're not on, they're all going to, if they listen, they all will hear it in the end. So I just believe in being super transparent with owners. I believe that's really important. And the more you share, then when these calls come up with maintenance, they understand our process, and they understand that our intent is really to take care of their asset.
Yeah. And you know, back to something Chris Voss said earlier, you're going to make mistakes. That's part of it. We go a step in the direction of understanding who's going to be talking. So I'm great. I can be interrupted. You can ask me a question. I'll get off topic and jump right back in. Jonathan's the same thing. But some of our managers like to kind of, they're scared to start with. So they stick in their guardrails. They talk about what they know, what they love, and then they want to reserve questions to the end. So it's really, you need to work out those dynamics before you go live. And then I'm a big proponent on, practice it. Just run through, do a dry run, especially if you have
that too.
Yep, we do that too. Yep.
My team wants to do that. So they actually practice on their own. So they'll tell me for a week ahead of time, they're rehearsing and practicing, and it's okay. Again, this is building that career development and everything. Here's one little tidbit though. So Bryan says he does his for 30 minutes. How long do you do yours for, Karen?
About 45.
Okay. So we target 45 minutes, but they tend to go over because of questions and answers. So I've purchased Zoom. I'll tell you a little trick what we do. So anytime we're doing the quarterly call, I'll sign up for Zoom. It's like $14. And if you sign up for Zoom and pay for it, then you can go beyond the hour. And you can also have more than 100 people if you have that many that are going to join. And then I just cancel afterwards, and then I just redo it again because I don't want to pay $14 per month. And so that's what we do. But if you don't, you are limited to, I think, 45 minutes. I could be wrong. Yeah. Isn't that right, guys? I think it's 45 minutes, and it will cut you off, and you don't want that. And that would be really embarrassing. So you just never know.
Yeah, I'll throw this out there because we actually, we purchased the Zoom subscription before we started doing this. We've been using it for a while, but we use it in business development. And, Jonathan will get on and do the shared screen thing. And a lot of times, anyone that knows Jonathan Cook, who's on here, I love him to death. If you've spoken to Jonathan, Jonathan likes to talk. So 40 minutes is going to cut him off. So we do a lot with that on the business development front, as well as use it for other things. So it's well worth, to me, it's well worth the $14.99. We have a single account set up, but everybody shares it. So it works very well.
That's good.
The feedback has been incredible. And especially, I think, with the new owners who are just coming on board. I love sharing feedback with the team and giving them what we hear back. But we get oh my gosh, no one's done this before. I'm so glad I signed up with you. Thank you for giving us. They're just grateful for the information. So as scary as it is to think that you're going to have every owner on this one call, it does run really smooth. And I think the feedback is what really makes it worth it. So,
yeah.
I've not gotten one single negative remark from anyone. Everybody loves it. Everybody wants to ensure. I've had people reach out to me after the fact, like immediately after the fact, and say, "When are you going to be emailing this out? I missed it."
Yeah. That's when I get exactly. How quickly can you turn this around and get this to me? Yeah.
The FOMO is real from these owners.
But somebody asked, what do we call it? I think we just call it honestly, something like
Quarterly
quarterly
owner
owner Zoom
Zoom?
call.
Mhm.
Yeah. Now we do send the agenda with the call, with the invite. So with the letter, the reason why is because I want to entice them to go, oh yeah, I want to hear about that. And again, the agenda will cover every department. So think of 4 major departments. Think of property management, which could cover like marketing and leasing, maintenance, accounting. Well, I go marketing, leasing, property management, which is like lease renewals, move-ins and move-outs, and delinquencies, and then maintenance. Yeah, maintenance, and what else did I miss? Accounting. So we try to cover each of those areas. So there's something in each of those areas that is being covered, because you don't know as well what some owners are wanting to hear versus others. So it's not always just maintenance. Sometimes it's about accounting. So the accounting we cover, what is our occupancy rate? What is our rent collected rate? So we get all of that data, and then we give them that. Again, it's sharing as much as we have, and and what's going on. The eviction moratorium's been a big one, updating them on our local issues that are going on. Rent control is going to be coming. That's going to be an issue. So talking to them about that. But now we're the experts, especially in this area. And I'll be honest, guys, it really tells them that they don't want to do this. Like, they don't want to manage properties now. They're like, yeah, I'm going to give it to you. So that's been really great.
We also have a sales division in our company. So we do give the information from the broker as to what's happening in the real estate market, and kind of what's happening with owners who are wanting to sell their properties, and what's the next steps, and what's really happening with that. So that has been really powerful to kind of retain those who do want to sell and keeping them within our company. So giving the broker update has been one of the things we added to the agenda.
Yeah, and I just put the title of
Yeah, I
our
like that.
So we purposely use the wording strategic in recap.
I like that too. I think I'm going to use that now. I like the
We want
word
everybody to understand that we're being very thoughtful in what we're doing and strategic about it. So that's that's everybody's become accustomed to it, and we'll talk about once we get the resources up. You'll notice we actually use some of the logos for some of the services we're discussing. And we want them to grow accustomed to seeing those logos and hearing those names as services. If they come across it in a document, it's on a statement, something along those lines, they'll understand exactly what we're talking about.
Couple things. Z brought up some really good tips. So you're right. You can, if you pay for that subscription on the back end, you can actually filter what you want Zoom to do or not. So that's correct on what Z said. And to answer Brad, we do put it on YouTube channels. So, and then you can share that link. Either you can have it public or you can have it private and share the link with people. And so whoever has the link can see it. So that's how we have done it. That's how I can get it out to everybody. What
would be fun to add to our agenda? Horror stories or funny stories. Guess what happened to the owner today when they used a home warranty? We could have a book of all the things that experienced. I thought that would be funny to add. Brad
Randall could have a whole book on the HOA stuff. I'm sure he would have his owners just tearing it up.
Right.
Some of his stuff, it kills me. Only him. He's so good at it. He would have a lot of profanity. And that might not be that good.
Yeah, we got to keep it PG.
But it would be really funny. I think that's a really good point, Karen. Maybe just saying, here's an experience that something, what happened when a resident did this or an owner did this. Cause I love it when owners say, oh, I'll just, can I just do it myself? Let me just tell you about a time when that happened.
That's upon something with home warranties. We all love.
Yeah, that's a really good one. The horrors of a home warranty.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Yeah. And kind of discouraging them from these new owners who think home warranties are like awesome. Let me tell you exactly what happened last month, or kind of share with them a horror story. I think that would be.
And I think one of the areas that I know I've been wanting to touch on, because again, I think the way that we get our agenda is we ask our team, hey, what's kind of been an issue this last quarter? Like, what are some of the questions you're always getting asked? What's going on? One of the things is we've been bringing on a lot of owners, and again, we're just human, but we miss things, and we even have a really great onboarding process. But I think recapping to owners, hey, we still, this is why we need your additional insured. This is why we need certain things like this, and to kind of help them understand what position it puts us in, because obviously we're managing their asset for them, but we're responsible for so much within the county and the municipality that we're governing that property in. So it puts us in a, mitigates risk a little bit.
Right. And I think it's a good opportunity to share with the owners what our numbers are, what's happening with the eviction moratorium. How has it personally impacted our company? What does it really look? Because, all they hear is the news and the horror stories of tenant laws and tenant rights. So to really hear how it's impacted us personally, I think it's a good way to also kind of share and brag that a little bit.
Dee Dee asked, have you considered once a month? I would not do it once a month. I think honestly, that's too much. I think once a quarter is perfect. I think once a month, it exhausts your team, and it's a lot on them. We're always so busy. I feel like if you started down that path, it's the same way I feel about blogging. If you're going to blog, but you better be consistent. If you're going to do it once a month, don't do it a few times and then forget about it, because your owners will hold you to that. So be consistent on what works for your team.
Yeah, and I know Karen talked about the real estate sales side of it. So we have real estate consulting in-house. And one of the things that we focus on is development of off-market opportunities.
Yeah.
So this is a way that you can promote. I mean, it is about sharing the why and educating your clients and potential clients. But at the same time, I mean, you get to push out whatever your message, whatever you want that to be, whatever you want to talk about. And it's a great opportunity to give those little, commercials for this or for podcast or whatever you want to do. And I think once you get doing it and become comfortable with it and get the structure down, and as I've said today, I mean, I'll go through and tweak a few things with Jonathan, so our next one's even better. But just know that you always want to improve it. You always want to be very detailed on what you're trying to push out. And, we do something a little different. Our agenda is internal, so they know what the topics are, but they don't know exactly what we're going to be discussing. So those are different approaches as to how you can structure it, but definitely well worth the while.
So we have about 4 minutes left, and Kelly asked a really good question. I think we can kind of end on that. What's the best thing that's come from this? Bryan, I'll start with you.
I think it's been the change in attitude from our owners. And again, it's so my big thing within the industry is proactive management, focus on that versus reactive. And if you can constantly be pushing in that direction, your fires are less and less and less. So, and that's, done several different ways, as we all know, through procedures and such. But that's been the greatest takeaway. I feel like the owners have buy-in with us. And I put this in the chat earlier. So we're creating fans of our company, of our management firm. So that's pretty cool.
Karen?
Same, Deb. The relationships have absolutely been strengthened by these calls. I think they have more confidence in us, and they actually look forward to the calls.
Mm-hmm. They do, and they hold you to it. And I want to say the same thing. It's really joyful to get on these calls and go, oh my gosh, you've been with me for like 15 years and you're still our owner. I mean, it's like so nice to see them so involved, and they've invested in us. And, even the new owners are seeing the older seasoned owners ask questions and like rave about us in public. It's been really great. So that has been, and it, you know what it does to the team, it actually boosts their confidence. They're very like, we can do this. They're happier. The team's like, this is why I do this. This is all worth it, because tenants are, and they wear on us. They're the ones who really get angry with us the most. But when we have the owners, basically they back us up, it makes it all worth it.
Yep.
Yeah. And once you set the date, stick to it. Don't
ever change. I've never changed. Yeah. I've never changed it.
One owner show up or 100, it doesn't matter. Just run through your entire program and record everything and push it out. And don't ever be embarrassed by it, because it'll grow. So,
and you know what? And Dee Dee said she's going to start this. Kelly, Megan, you guys just be transparent. Just say, you know what? This is our first time doing this. We're going to kind of go through this together. Your agenda may be really quick. You guys might talk like a million miles an hour and really fast in the beginning because you're a little nervous, but that's okay. And again, it's just setting that precedent and then just building this in. And I have considered, and I thought about having a private page on my website where owners can, like, if I give them that, if owners, like, we want to give incoming owners or prospects, hey, what are you guys all about? I thought about doing something where it's all of our calls are logged in there and that they can actually go and see all of them. So just something I've been thinking about. I probably now will end up doing it because I just said it out loud. So you guys are going to hold me to it because I know Karen will. But anyway, something I thought about.
Yeah, no, that's great. And that gives resource to the actual owner.
Yeah. Yeah. So the challenge from Deb to everybody is write out an agenda with your team, pick a date, pick a time, do it, sign up with Zoom. It's not that hard, and go for it.
Yeah, go for it.
Go for it. It'll be fun.
Do it. And you know what? Here's an idea. If you guys don't want to do it every quarter, just do a year end, like a year in review. Ooh, I like that idea. I think I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to do a year in review. That's my fourth quarter one.
That's all for this episode of The Triple Win. Thanks go out to Carol Housel and Jeff Tucker for everything they do to put these episodes together. And we want to remind everyone that you can find more resources, upcoming events, a link to our private Facebook group where the conversation continues in between these episodes with other professional property managers. All of that you can find at rbp.secondnature.com. Again, that's rbp.secondnature.com. And until next time, keep transforming what it means to be in professional property management by finding and applying your next triple win. We want it to be true that every time we see you, we see a better version of you and your business. With that, cheers.